With the right to repair finally becoming a reality in South Africa earlier this month, car owners have the freedom to service or repair their vehicles at an independent provider of their choice. And while this will boost competition and result in better pricing, it will also put more power and responsibility in the hands of workshops and car owners. This is according to an article written by Filum Ho, the CEO of Autoboys, who offers practical advice and tips on what to consider when replacing your car's oil in the future. And he joins us now via Zoom to tell us more. Phil, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you very much for having me, Cynthia.
Now let's start with the Competition Commission's newly introduced guidelines on the right to repair that have been enacted. Just break them down for us if you can.
Right. The Commission issued new guidelines that went live on the 1st of July. And these guidelines are exactly that. They're guidelines to guide, competition rules in the market.
Yeah.
So we think they're great because, as you quite rightly said, it really speaks to consumer choice. It speaks to access in the market. You know, the economy is still very concentrated in the automotive sector.
Yeah.
And we believe these guidelines are a really good first step to really encourage small and medium enterprises to be able to enter the market. There's a bunch of rules in the guidelines that really speak to and allow the SME sector to start servicing newer cars without risk of voiding the warranty. And I think that is the biggest thing. You can actually take your vehicle now to a vehicle with a warranty, with an active warranty or a active motor plan, and you can take it to the service provider of your choice now. And the vehicle manufacturer will not be able to void the warranty. And I think that is a positive for so many reasons, including, being able to uplift SMEs. Previously, for vehicles for between 1 and 3 years or 1 and 5 years that had the motor plan or had the warranty, they were really stuck and locked into servicing the car at the OEM dealership.
Okay.
All right. And with technology coming up and cars becoming more advanced, you really sort of excluded a part of the market in terms of, learning these new skills, being able to service these vehicles. And of course, the vehicle segment from 1 to 3 or 1 to 5 years is certainly a more lucrative part of the segment. So it's a good thing.
And how are these new guidelines going to impact how repairs have currently been done for both the workshops and the car owners themselves? Right.
Well, the first thing is the consumer actually has a choice now to take the vehicle to where they want to without being locked in. But as we were talking about, it also places a burden of responsibility on the vehicle owner as well as the workshop. We would recommend that a vehicle owner certainly takes their vehicle to a reputable workshop. We would maybe use the MIWA, if it's a MIWA accredited workshop, that's normally a really good place to start. And for the workshop, they need to make sure that they understand these rules and they understand that although they have access to repair these vehicles, they really need to make sure that they are responsible with it. They use the right parts, matching quality parts. And if they that's where it could lead to problems. I'm talking about the oil, and we wrote an article about oil, but that is a good example. A vehicle that gets launched will have a certain specification that they use. And if your workshop uses the wrong specification of oil, not only can damage the car, but it runs the risk of the vehicle manufacturer still being able to void the warranty. Okay, so there are a set of responsibilities that both the consumer and the workshop needs to follow. I mean, I think they say with greater power comes greater responsibility, and that's certainly the case here.
And what would you say that the automotive sector has been gearing up for this moment?
Pardon me?
Why would you say that the automotive sector has been gearing up for this moment?
Well, I think, even beyond the automotive sector, there's still a lot of concentration in the economy here. And I think if the last 2 weeks have taught us anything, it's that we really have to deal with this concentration.
Right.
Even our business on the Autoboy side, we've seen, you see these hurdles being placed in front of you. So I think, the Competition Commission, this has been a long journey. This has been a journey of 2-3 years. They've started investigating the behavior. I guess they were looking to anti-competitiveness in the automotive sector. And they realized that there were certain, structural issues in the market that are very different to the rest of the world, in terms of having access to the market, who can serve cars. And they realized that they really needed to make a change to make the economy more inclusive. And I really applaud them for doing it. It's been a long journey. And hopefully the vehicle manufacturers understand that this is a good thing for not only, creating a more competitive landscape, but ultimately creating a healthier economy. So it has been a journey, but I'm happy to say that we are certainly from the first bit over the line. Now it's up to the vehicle manufacturers and I guess industry as a whole to make sure that we implement these guidelines in a responsible way and make sure that we do what we're trying to do, which is create a more inclusive economy, allow for greater access, allow for transformation in the economy without some of these structural impediments that are in place.
Yeah, and I suppose everybody wins here, the motorists themselves, the consumers and the workshops. Like everybody gets, a piece of the pie. Now, having said that, the wrong oil can damage an engine and result in an OEM voiding warranty. Just share with us what practical tips on what needs to consider when replacing the car's oil in the future. Right.
Well, engines are built with specific tolerances, okay? So especially the modern engine. So the one thing I would say, and it's a very, very easy tip, is to take a look at the manufacturer's handbook and see what engine oil and what kind of viscosity the engine takes. A couple of really, really good signs that the wrong engine oil is being used is if your engine starts making funny sounds. If you smell maybe engine oil burning, maybe there's a ticking sound in the engine. Those are some of the sort of telltale signs that the wrong engine oil is being used. So it's a really, really easy tip. Take a look at the vehicle manufacturer's handbook. Make sure that when you go to the workshop, they are using the right engine oil. There is quite a bit of a difference between the prices of a mineral oil or a synthetic or oil, but ultimately, if you use the right oil, it preserves the engine, and if you use the wrong oil, it may lead to reduced lubrication and shorter engine life. So yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's a pretty easy tip. Go take a look at the handbook, and it'll tell you which engine oil you should use.
All right, Phil, great chatting to you, man. Thank you so much for this piece of advice.
Thank you very much for having me. Okay.
All right, that was Filum Ho. He is the CEO of Autoboys, and he joined us to offer practical advice and tips on what to consider when replacing your car's oil in the future.